Ex-wife demands my life-saving cancer treatment money to buy her new stepson a sports car. When I refused, she drags me to court and regretted it. I, 36M, used to think my marriage would survive anything, until life smacked me in the face with a cancer diagnosis. Back then, I truly believed my wife would stand by me. We'd been together nearly a decade, had a 6-year-old daughter, a modest house, a middle-class life. Then everything changed. My doctor confirmed I had a serious form of cancer. The treatments would be grueling, expensive, and time-consuming. I assumed my wife would be anxious, sure, but I never expected her to pack up and leave, taking our daughter, the entire savings, and leaving me with only the house. She didn't even mask her reasons. "I can't handle this," she said flatly, practically the same week I told her about my diagnosis. "I want a normal, healthy husband who can provide, not this." The coldness in her eyes still haunts me. She demanded a divorce, claiming she refused to be saddled with endless medical bills. It was a blow to my heart, but worse was how she took our child, along with all my liquid assets in the divorce settlement. My lawyer tried to fight, but she had a well-connected attorney. The judge insisted I keep the house because it was under my name, well before our marriage, but everything else? She snatched it up. On top of that, I had to pay monthly child support of $1,200. In my condition, that stung, but I'd do anything for my daughter's well-being, even if it meant scraping by. Only after the papers were signed did I truly register what had happened. No real apologies, no concern for my health. She walked out, calling me useless to her. The heartbreak merged with the dread of my upcoming treatment. I wondered how I'd afford the chemo sessions. I had basic insurance, but the co-pays were daunting. My ex-wife didn't care. She left me to handle the battle alone. But I wasn't alone, not entirely. My coworkers and a few good friends rallied. They set up a local donation page first, then expanded it into a GoFundMe campaign. Word spread in our town, fueled by social media shares. My colleagues wrote heartfelt updates about my struggle, how I was a decent father fighting for his life. Within weeks, something miraculous happened. Donations poured in, eventually hitting around $30. I was overwhelmed by the generosity. I posted a simple thank you video on the campaign page, tears in my eyes, explaining that this would help cover treatment. The comments were supportive, full of well wishes. For the first time since my diagnosis, I felt hopeful. Of course, my ex-wife got wind of it. She'd barely been in touch, aside from sending me a monthly invoice for any extras she claimed our daughter needed. But once she saw that $30 figure, she reappeared like a vulture circling fresh prey. Suddenly, her texts and calls ramped up. She demanded a cut of the fundraiser. At first, I thought it was a sick joke, but she insisted, claiming her new stepson, from her quickly remarried status, deserved a sports car and that money would help. She actually said that. My disbelief turned to anger. This money was for my cancer treatment, my chance to keep living, and she wanted it for some teenage boy's luxury toy. I told her no. She didn't take it well. My ex-wife's sense of entitlement was staggering. She phoned me incessantly, leaving messages where she ranted about how I owed her for the years of marriage, how it was only fair that she got some of the GoFundMe haul. I recall one particular voicemail, her voice dripping with scorn. "You're still paying child support, so obviously you can handle your treatment. My stepson's happiness is at stake. You better give me that money." The callousness of it made me shake with rage. I refused to engage further, so she escalated. I woke up one morning to find a legal notice slipped under my door. My ex-wife was alleging I'd hidden assets during our divorce, namely the GoFundMe money, and that I was in contempt of our settlement. She threatened to drag me to court if I didn't hand over half. So that's exactly what happened. She sued me, claiming I'd lied about my finances. I was sick to my stomach. Wasn't it enough that I was battling cancer, scraping by with the help of friends? Now I had to defend myself in court again? My stress soared. My hair was already thinning from chemo. I couldn't afford more emotional turmoil. But I refused to let her intimidation tactics break me. I immediately called my lawyer, an old friend who'd helped me through the initial divorce fiasco. He was incensed. "She's lost her mind," he said. "We'll fight this. It's absurd." We prepared for the hearing, collecting all the relevant documents, medical bills, the GoFundMe page showing it was explicitly for my treatment, the timeline proving the money was donated after our divorce was finalized. My lawyer pointed out that the settlement covered only what existed at the time. The fundraiser was a separate, voluntary act of charity from our community, not some hidden stash of assets. Meanwhile, my ex-wife tried to rally her new husband, even her parents, to declare I was untrustworthy. But the local community knew me. I'd been part of the same company for years, had stable friendships, paid my child support on time despite massive financial strain. The difference in credibility was stark. Then came the twist. The judge assigned to the case turned out to be someone who recognized my name from the GoFundMe. He himself had donated a small amount anonymously, but remembered the story. A father with cancer, abandoned by his wife, raising funds for crucial treatment. This judge, upon seeing my ex's complaint, asked her bluntly, "You're alleging he hid these donations? Do you have proof that these funds were available pre-divorce?" She stammered. Of course, she had none. She tried spinning a tale about me orchestrating a secret windfall, but the judge wasn't buying it. During the hearing, the judge glanced at me with sympathy. "Sir, can you explain the nature of this fundraiser?" I told the story. How my coworker started it, how it soared thanks to local support, how every cent was earmarked for chemo and medication, not some hidden savings account. He nodded, listening carefully. My ex's attorney tried to cut in, but the judge politely shut him down. Let him finish. By the end of my testimony, the judge's expression was a mix of pity and incredulity at my ex's gall. Then it was her turn to speak. She doubled down, calling me manipulative, insisting I was hoarding money while paying bare minimum child support. I almost choked on the irony. She'd taken everything from me, left me in debt, and forced me to rely on charity for medical treatment. Now she had the nerve to accuse me of hoarding? The tension in the courtroom was palpable. My ex-wife's brazen attitude wasn't doing her any favors. She demanded I share the $30 so she could buy a reward for her new stepson, some sporty car he apparently had his heart set on. The judge's jaw clenched at that. "Ma'am," he said, voice measured, "are you saying you want to redirect a cancer patient's donation money to fund a luxury vehicle for your new spouse's child?" She blinked, then stammered about how family needs come first, and how I already have enough coverage from insurance. The judge's eyes flicked to me sympathetically, noticing my visibly weakened state from treatment. He asked to see evidence that my insurance fully covered chemo. I provided documentation of high copays, the specialized treatments not fully reimbursed. He nodded. Clearly, these funds are for necessary medical expenses, not surplus wealth. My ex tried another tack, claiming I must have hidden assets, because how else could I keep paying $1,200 monthly child support on top of cancer costs? My lawyer stepped in, calmly explaining that the child support was forcibly drawn from my modest paycheck, leaving me with very little. The actual medical treatment costs soared beyond what my partial coverage handled. The GoFundMe was literally a lifesaver. The judge, scanning the numbers, said nothing, but his expression spoke volumes. When the judge asked if she had any direct proof of hidden assets, she fumbled. She had none. She tried referencing the bank accounts from our marriage, but we pointed out they'd been drained by her as part of the divorce settlement, leaving me with near zero. The judge's patience wore thin. "It appears your claims lack basis," he stated. Desperate, she turned emotional, accusing me of using cancer as a sympathy ploy to gather money I refused to share. The judge's face hardened. "I see. And you believe you're entitled to these donations?" She nodded, doubling down. "Yes, because it benefits our daughter as well. He can't just keep everything to himself." My frustration boiled over. "These donations are for my treatments, so I can live to raise our daughter. How does buying your stepson a sports car help our daughter?" She glared daggers at me. "Stop playing the victim. If you have the money for chemo, you can spare some for the kids. Don't act like you're starving." I was speechless at her cruelty, but the judge swiftly stepped in. "That's enough. I've heard all I need." He turned to me. "You've complied with child support obligations, correct?" My lawyer handed over the payment records. Every single $1,200 check paid on time. The judge nodded, giving my ex-wife a stern look. "Then your argument that he's neglecting his parental responsibilities is unfounded." He turned back to her. "You've submitted no proof of hidden assets. The funds from the GoFundMe campaign are explicitly donations for medical treatment. In my view, you have no claim on them. Furthermore, your attempt to coerce these funds for a frivolous purchase is concerning." My ex-wife's face turned red, but she kept silent, eyes darting around the courtroom. The judge let out a small sigh. "I'll issue my final decision shortly." A few days later, we reconvened for the judge's ruling. He wasted no time delivering the verdict. My ex-wife's motion was dismissed with prejudice, meaning she couldn't bring the same ridiculous suit again. Additionally, seeing how she harassed a seriously ill man for money intended for life-saving treatment, the judge ordered her to pay my legal fees. He also deemed it appropriate to reduce my monthly child support, given my medical condition and the ex-wife's remarried status. When the judge announced that child support would decrease, she looked ready to explode. She shouted, "That's unfair. I'm raising his daughter." But the judge calmly reminded her that she'd already taken the bulk of our marital savings, and my income was diminished by my illness. The judge found her excess demands unmerited, especially after her attempt to seize my donation money. Thus, justice slammed down on her entitlement. She'd walked into court expecting to bleed me dry. Instead, she walked out owing me money. I couldn't hide my relief. My ex-wife's face was a mask of shock and fury as she stomped out of the courtroom, her new husband trailing behind, looking more embarrassed than angry. A wave of relief washed over me. My lawyer patted my shoulder. "You deserved that victory." The reality that I might finally keep the 30 CALR for my battle against cancer was indescribable. Beyond the money, it felt like I could breathe again, vindicated, recognized as someone who simply wanted to survive, not a manipulator hoarding secret funds. Over the next few weeks, I used those donations for their intended purpose: chemo sessions, medication, nutritional support. My colleagues and friends from the campaign were thrilled I kept the funds. Some had worried the ex would somehow succeed, but seeing her defeat brought them satisfaction. The entire fiasco became small-town chatter. The ex-wife who tried to buy her new stepson a flashy car with her cancer-stricken ex-husband's fundraiser money and got smacked down by a compassionate judge. Her new stepson, from what I heard, never got that sports car. She also struggled to pay my legal fees. The monthly checks for child support shrank, forcing her to adapt to a less lavish lifestyle. Our daughter remained mostly unaffected, aside from noticing her mother's sour mood. I still saw my little girl whenever my health allowed. I tried to shield her from the drama. She was only 7 now, innocent and undeserving of her mother's twisted sense of entitlement. Meanwhile, I continued my treatments with renewed hope. This victory in court reminded me I wasn't alone. My friends, co-workers, and even the judge recognized my sincerity. The thought of my ex-wife's outraged expression still made me chuckle sometimes. She truly believed she'd waltz in, spin a sob story, and walk away with my donation money. She never counted on the judge seeing through her lies. That's how I learned that karma can strike back swiftly, especially against those who'd stoop so low as to demand a cancer patient's life-saving funds for a frivolous purchase. I guess sometimes the good guys do win.